Happy roster cut down day, Steelers Nation. Today we're going to be covering the latest rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers as Mike Tomlin, the head coach, prepares to finalize his initial 53-man roster for the Pittsburgh Steelers. First, we'll talk about the latest on a potential Brandon Aiyuk trade. Time is certainly running out for Omar Khan to get this deal done, so I'll give you guys the latest. Also, there's quite a few other Steelers wide receiver target options out there that are either getting released or are potentially getting traded in the National Football League over the next 24 hours or so. We'll cover those options on today's show as well. And then the Steelers have also made some more roster cuts in the latest hours here, so we will break those down on today's edition of Steelers Talk. And of course, later today, whenever Mike Tomlin announces the official 53-man roster here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, we will have a video for you guys breaking down all 53 members of the Pittsburgh Steelers initial roster. And of course, if Brandon Aiyuk does get traded today or tomorrow or whatever the case may be, if an Aiyuk trade happens, an 11-hour live stream is what we will have right here on Steelers Talk. It's going to be a lot of fun if it happens. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now to never miss any of the fun here on Steelers Talk this year. We've got 2 weekly live shows every single week, plus a watch party for every single Steelers game. We got daily videos for you guys. We try to get 2 out every single day between Monday and Thursday for you guys. We might even have 3 today, depending on the news that happens. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button to never miss a breaking news story. So let's start here with Brandon Aiyuk. And I've been saying for a while here, guys, that this is a very important day. And I think that tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon when the waiver claims come in is going to be a very important timeline here for the Steelers to potentially land Brandon Aiyuk. I think if it gets past waiver claims tomorrow, which is 12 p.m. Eastern time, it's looking like it's going to be a lot less likely that the Pittsburgh Steelers land Aiyuk. So the clock is certainly ticking here. And I do think the Steelers want an answer soon. I think that there's some other guys, other wide receivers that are available on the open market right now that, the Steelers feel like they need to get a receiver. And if Aiyuk in this decision by the 49ers continues to drag out, I do think that the Steelers are going to eventually move on and just pick up a Tim Patrick or a Noah Brown instead of trading for Brandon Aiyuk. And I do think that the deal is right now, guys, is that the longer that this goes past the cut deadline this afternoon, I think that the less likely a trade ends up becoming. And I think if it gets past tomorrow on Wednesday, I think if it gets to the end of the day on Wednesday and the Steelers don't have Brandon Aiyuk on their football team, I'm starting to think he won't be on their team at all for the 2024 season. So let me know down there in the comments section, what is the percent chance that Aiyuk is a Steeler this year? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comments section. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, give me a number between 0 to 100. For me, I'll give it about a 35% chance, and that might be a little bit generous, especially because of the timeline that we're working with here, but I've been told that the Steelers feel very good about their positioning in this Aiyuk sweepstakes, and I think that, if they can't get Aiyuk, they feel good about going out and getting another wide receiver on the open market here before week 1 of this year. So I would say probably more than likely Aiyuk won't be a Steeler at this point, but the San Francisco 49ers definitely have issues of their own with this situation. So never say never. Things could certainly get crazy later today. So coming up here on Steelers Talk, other wide receiver options. We've already talked about a couple of them today here. I've mentioned a couple of them. We're going to go in detail as to which wide receivers the Steelers might be targeting here, not named Brandon Aiyuk. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And guys, we all know that experiencing a sporting event, especially a football game live and Acrisure Stadium, is unlike anything you can get from watching the Steelers game on your couch. So Game Time Picks is a brand new feature on the Game Time app, and what it does is that it filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So the way that it works is you go onto the Game Time app, you select a game. Here, let's check out the home opener for the Steelers against the Chargers at Acrisure Stadium. All you got to do is find that game, click the Game Time Picks button, and it automatically finds the best possible deals on the best seats on their app, so you don't have to shop around on their app, and you don't have to shop around on other ticketing apps. It's a lot easier than having 5-6 different ticketing apps on your phone and comparing prices. Game Time has the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event. It's more than just sports, guys. It's music festivals, it's concerts, it's comedy shows, it's theater performances. Well, if you can get something and you can get tickets to something, you can get it on Game Time at the lowest price guarantee. They also have all-in pricing, so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout. That's very convenient as well to know upfront how much you would have to pay for your tickets. And then also they have flash deals right before game time. So you guys can get even better priced tickets the longer you wait. So if you're like me and you like to procrastinate, you like to get your tickets last minute, Game Time actually rewards you for that with those flash deals. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, it's just for your first purchase. Create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS, right down there in the bottom right of your screen for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. So the Steelers are showing interest in Tim Patrick here, who worked with both Zach Azzanni, the new wide receiver coach here in Pittsburgh, in Denver, and then also worked with Russell Wilson. Now, Tim Patrick's been hurt over the last 2 years. He's literally missed the last 2 seasons with various injuries, so he actually never played a regular season football game with Russell Wilson, or at least not significant time with Russell Wilson, but he got a lot of time with him in during the off seasons when he was rehabbing and all this different stuff when Russ was coming into Denver. And Russell Wilson speaks very highly of Tim Patrick, and it seems like Denver is willing to let him go. I think that he'd be very cheap on the trade market. I think the Steelers can probably get him for like a 7th round pick, at the very most like a 6th round and a 7th round pick swap or something like that. So Tim Patrick, a bigger receiver, good blocker. He's worked with Russell Wilson in the past. He's worked with Zach Azzanni, who's spoken highly of him. I definitely think that if the Steelers don't land Brandon Aiyuk, definitely keep your eye out for a trade for Tim Patrick, or who knows, maybe he'll get released and the Steelers don't have to give up any draft capital. There's definitely some other targets on the Houston Texans I think the Steelers could be interested in. We talked about John Mechie on yesterday's show. It seems like he's going to make the final roster for Houston, though. Noah Brown ended up getting cut today, and then Robert Woods is another guy that could potentially get traded away from Houston, or maybe even cut. But the Aaron Wilson reported today that the Texans have released Noah Brown. So Brown is somebody that is a bigger receiver. Like Tim Patrick, he is a bigger receiver that has dealt with some injuries in the past. I think that Brown is a very solid receiver and a very underrated receiver in this league. And I do think if the Steelers end up nabbing him on the waiver wire or whatever the case may be, I think he's going to be a very big contributor for the Steelers offense this year. He's a decent route runner, solid hands, a big body that's a really good run blocker. So he brings a lot of what Arthur Smith is looking for in a wide receiver. So definitely keep your eye out on Noah Brown. And then also in terms of special teams wide receivers, guys that are kind of special teams aces in terms of being really nice gunners. Miles Boykin, who went to the New York Giants this past offseason, he was a special teams ace for the Steelers special teams unit. As a gunner in previous seasons. Now he's on the open market. Could we see the Pittsburgh Steelers bring him back as their gunner this year? I could certainly see that. Then Ben Skoranek has been known as one of the best special teams players in football as well. He was released by the Houston Texans earlier this morning. So keep your eye on the Steelers potentially adding one of these two gentlemen as a gunner in their special teams units here. So predict it for me down there in the comments section. Which wide receiver, if any, do you think that the Pittsburgh Steelers will add to their roster before Week 1? Do you think they'll add multiple receivers? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. I want to know where you're at with what receiver you want to see in black and gold. So there are some more roster cuts that the Steelers have made here. So Kyron Johnson was the one that was made this morning. That was a bit of a surprise to me because I did have him in my final roster projection. It seemed like he was on the inline road to be the number 4 edge rusher. So maybe Julius Welshoff gets the job. Maybe Jeremiah Moon is going to get the job. It's going to be interesting to see what the Steelers decide to do at that 4th edge rusher position. They also cut Anderson Hardy, Matthew Wright, and Kyler McMichael yesterday. And then earlier on Monday, we already covered these guys on yesterday's show, but Keandre Thomas, Marquise Spencer, Kayava Tizino, Tyler Beach, Devery Hamilton, Dajan Edwards, the UDFA out of Georgia, Jacob Copeland, and TJ Luther were also cut yesterday. So there's still quite a few people that need to be cut for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sure throughout the day, more and more announcements will be made in terms of which players the Steelers are letting go. And of course, whenever Mike Tomlin comes out with the official 53-man roster, we will have you guys covered with a video here on Steelers Talk. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now if you haven't already. And until later today, guys, here we go, Steelers.